am your RusAme reader, Song, and today I bring to you the last chapter of One Way Out by Alien Limeade. Now, on to chapter 22. This is meant to be. Russia's point of view. I walk behind America, feeling half dead. My body hurts and aches everywhere. We haven't been able to sit down and fully rest for a while. I look behind me and see everyone struggling as well. Soon, the footsteps of America start to fade, causing me to look forward. I see him running. We must be close, or maybe even there now. I follow quickly after him, using all of the energy I have left in my body. We pass the running river I had been on the other side of before. We're here now, I know it. Not too long after, we leap into a clearing full of nothing but dens. The wind lightly blows the grass in the surrounding area. I watch as America leaps into one den that I suppose is his. I follow after him into the den. I watch as he plops down onto the ground and rolls around before plopping back up onto all fours. I let out a light laugh from his kitten-like behavior. I can't believe it! We made it, Russia! We're back! We're home! He said, full of excitement. He looked so tired, he's so hurt, yet somehow managed to pull out a big smile. He walked over to me and rubbed his head against mine. I smiled and let out a loud purr. Through his weak and sleepy eyes, I could see a sense of joy and love. He purred back and moved his head to my chest. We both sat down and just cuddled against each other, not focusing on anything else. I felt my face begin to turn a light red with a warm sensation. This felt nice. It felt safe. Like nothing could hurt us. Not right now. Not in this moment. I felt him pull away from me slowly. I looked down at him, a little disappointed. He smiled and stood up, giving us both contact at eye level. I'm going to go check on my mom. She needs to rest, he said and began to head out. I quickly ran in front of him. She will. Everyone needs to, I replied and turned my head around. I noticed that France and UK were gone, so I assumed they went into one of the dens. I could see my sister's tail making her way into another den with Australia, New Zealand, and Canada. Ukraine is probably in there too. I looked back at America and noticed he was lying down with his glasses put to the side of him. His eyes slowly began to close. Wow, he didn't hesitate after hearing that. I smiled at him and took off my hat, placing it next to his glasses. I curled in a ball next to him on the soft, grassy bedding. A smile appeared on his face, making me happy. I looked at him one last time before finally letting my eyes rest. America's point of view. My eyes slowly began to open. I blinked a couple times and then began to sit up. I turned my head and noticed Russia was no longer next to me. I yawned and looked up. Oh God, it's sunset! It was just sunrise. How long did I sleep for? Oh well, I guess. I heard voices of familiar cats come from outside. The figures seemed to be sitting in a circle together. I licked my paw and rubbed my face. I got up slowly due to pain in my lower back. With a quick head turn, I was able to see the claw marks that had been on me. They looked a lot better than before, not too deep, thankfully. They should heal in a few days. I looked to my left for my glasses and noticed Russia's Ushanka. Maybe I'll wear this instead. It couldn't hurt. I put on the hat and right away noticed it was too big. It was covering my eyes, kind of, but whatever. It was kind of cozy. I giggled to myself and turned forward and walked out of the den towards the figures that soon became clearer to see. It was my friends and family. I saw Russia flick his ears and look at me, so I walked over to sit by him. Good afternoon. I heard Ozzy say. Afternoon? It's sunset. What time did you all wake up? Not too long before you, Canada replied. He had been sitting on the other side of me. I didn't even hear you come into the den. That's because I didn't. I stayed with our brothers, and Ukraine and Belarus. I thought you'd like a little alone time, he said quietly. I rolled my eyes while smiling. I leaned my head on Russia. What'd I miss? I asked. Not much. Russia explained a little more about his friendship with China, and so did your mom, Ukraine replied. I looked at my mom and noticed her nod in agreement. In the corner of my eyes, I could see my father looking at me and Russia. I hadn't really said anything about me and Russia except to Russia's siblings. There seemed to be almost no point in saying anything with all that we've been through. It just didn't seem to fit. But when I looked at my dad, I could see a smile appear on his face. My heart quickly became filled with joy. He didn't say anything, nor did he have to, but I could tell he was just okay with this. Russia had a good connection with my mother already. Maybe he can gain one with my father too. May, there is a pile of food, if you would like any. Me and Canada caught it, Ukraine pointed out, causing my thoughts to quickly disappear. Thank you, I replied and walked around him and Russia to pick out a small mouse from the pile. So, Belarus, you said that you knew the way back uphill when you found Russia and America. Do you live down there? My mother asked. I sat back down to listen. No, actually, but I have hunted down there with my father so long ago. Speaking about being down there, what happened with the other troops that were sent out to help search? Her eyes traveled towards my dad. They will be back in 2 days. That's how much time is left before the patrol shift is over. Some cats are in different areas, and there are different rules for the location of search, he stated. Belarus nodded her head in acknowledgement. They all continued to carry on a conversation as I ate my mouse. When I finished, I looked at my paws, and Russia rubbed the side of his face against mine. Nice look, he said. Thanks, I replied, smiling. I turned my head and noticed Ukraine standing next to Canada. Are you ready? I heard Ukraine say. His voice was a bit muffled by the conversation going on between the others. I watched as my brother got up and the two started to walk off. Hey, where are you two going? I asked, causing Russia to turn his head towards them. Oh, well, there's this one spot I wanted to show Ukraine. It's good for hunting, and it looks really pretty at sunset, Canada said. Just by those words, I already knew the location he was talking about. I smiled. All right, but be back before midnight, I said. He smiled back, and the two leaped off together. May, there are cuts on your back, Russia told me. Yeah, I know. They should heal soon. They're not bleeding anymore, thankfully. I should have cleaned them in the stream. Do you want to go clean up at the river? Yeah, sure, I replied and looked back at my family once more. They had all been talking with Belarus and each other. My mother seemed to be doing a bit better. She had no longer been sitting, but lying down. Her wounds looked way better than before, but they should be cleaned often. I'm gonna bring back some water for her, I told Russia. All right. We'll do that last, if that is okay with you. I nodded and led the way to the river. The current had been softer and slower than previously. Russia helped me put water on my lower back and then continued to clean his own paws and face. Perfect. I put my paw in the water and splashed it towards him. He moved back, with the splash hitting him. I laughed in reply. Oh, that's funny, huh? He replied playfully and put his whole arm in the water. I moved back, but the wave of water was huge and drenched my side. Hey! I yelled and pounced at him, pinning him to the ground. This is your hat, you're getting wet, you know. I know. He smirked and let out a soft purr. I smiled and touched noses with him. This felt nice. Just being around him was nice. I want to stay here all night with him and look at the stars. I know I can't, at least not yet. Come on, let's go find a leaf, I said quietly and got off of him. He got up and leaped in front of me. Okay, he replied, smiling as he turned his head. Russia's point of view. I watched as America ran to catch up with me and walked by my side. We walked a bit before jumping in a few trees to find the right leaf. After multiple attempts, America found a leaf that seemed almost perfect. It was big enough to hold a good portion of water. This is perfect, he claimed. I nodded and we ran back to the river. Here, let me hold one end and you hold the other. All right, he agreed. We held the leaf and carefully lowered it into the water, bringing it back up. The leaf was able to balance and keep the water. We carefully brought it back slowly in hopes to not spill it. When we came back, we saw UK and France heading into their den. UK ran over and helped us carry it back. I watched as he carefully applied the water to the healing wound on her belly. You two really didn't have to do this. I could have gone to the stream myself, really, she said calmly. I don't want you to move around, Mom. This wound is serious. It could easily start bleeding again, I heard America say. Thank you, both of you, she replied. I bowed my head in response and put the empty leaf down. We appreciate it, UK said. France slowly got up and licked behind my ear for comfort and did the same to America. Canada and Ukraine are still out. We'll be up for a while if you need us, she told me. Thank you, I replied. America and I turned around and walked towards the den we had slept in earlier. I laid down and watched as America did the same. I took my hat off of him and put it to the side near his glasses. He rested his head on his paws and stared into the bright moon. It was obvious he wanted to stay up longer. He still had energy. But the wounds we had needed rest to be healed. Tomorrow, let's go fish in the river. It will be a lot easier on your back than running for mice and birds, I suggested. That's a good idea, he replied and looked back to the sky. I slowly intertwined my tail into his and looked into the moon as well. This is it. This is where I'm meant to be. I know it. I really do. 8 years later. America's point of view. Are you ready? I heard Russia ask from behind me. Yeah, come on, let's go, I said and picked up the flowers that we had gathered earlier that sunny evening. We headed down towards the rocky road that was once a flowing stream. I placed down the flowers over my once beloved friend, the very place he had passed at. Russia sat next to me and placed his fair share of white daisies next to my gathering of yellow tulips. I was wrong about you, China. I said you were not my friend, not our friend, but that's not true. We both know it. We were great friends. We did almost everything together, and I will cherish all of those moments, every single one. But now I have to let you go, I said calmly with my eyes closed. I slowly opened them, only to see Russia looking at me. He turned his head back towards the sky. I won't forget you. Never. I won't forget how many times I was mad at you, and I won't forget how much I cared for you. Thank you. You showed me friendship. I am sorry for all that I ruined. I hope one day you can forgive me. Maybe you won't, maybe you will, but I will forgive you. I forgive you for it all, he said quietly, and then looked back at his paws. I put one of my paws on top of his and smiled. "Thank you for doing this with me," I said quietly. He smiled in response. We sat there together for 20 minutes, letting all of our feelings run through. All the anger, all the sadness, and joy hit and left our bodies. I stood up and walked away. Russia followed in my paw steps, and not too long after appeared at my side. We had made a new den for us down under the mountains we had once lived on top of. In the spring, little yellow flowers grew all around the area. They were my favorite. As time went on, many things changed. New job opportunities were open for many countries, although some things stayed the same. My father and mother still lived up above in their home, filling it with more love every day. Canada and Ukraine now work as patrols for countries in need of help to find those who are lost. Ozzy works on a water team and helps those who are in floods and struggle with terrible water crises. And New Zealand helps those who are struggling with food shortages hunt, winters especially. Belarus teaches younger kittens how to hunt. They're nice hunting sessions, if you ask me. Some of these jobs didn't even exist, but countries came around to organize them. Sometimes I like to go back uphill and give swimming lessons to those who struggle with it. Plus, I get to visit my parents again, and occasionally my brothers. Russia actually gives tours to those who plan on moving down here. He protects certain parts of this forest and has made sure to keep everything in check. He caters for the land and cats down here. We have some neighbors now, actually. Finland and Estonia live close, and so does Japan. We go and visit friends and family whenever we are able to. It's nice to see everyone again. But me and Russia are happy where we are. Sometimes it's hard for me to believe how it all played out like this. I've gone on some wild rides and adventures here and there in the past 8 years, but nothing like I used to. Guess I'll have to wait and see where I go next. I know I'll be okay no matter what it is, though. I've been through a lot and have seen a lot. But hey, I'm still here. I'm pretty sure this is where I'm meant to be. And that's the end of this chapter. I hope you enjoyed. Anyway, tomorrow I'll see you with the binge compilation. Then after that, I'll be back with Rival Schools by Cake. Anyway, I'd like to invite you to join the Discord, which is linked down in the description below. And I will see you tomorrow.